Vikings of Valhalla.
In lands where cold forges character and the sea sets the rules, a man was born to become legend. His name carried beyond the fjords, beyond fear, beyond time. He was warrior and explorer, father and king without a throne, a prophet of his own fate. His story binds the edge of the sword to the wisdom of the gods, his laughter to the thunder that still rolls across the northern mountains. Today we relive his life, his conquests, and his fall, a saga where history brushes myth and the human touches the divine. This is the journey of Ragnar Lothbrok, the man who defied kings, dreamed of new horizons, and refused to be silent even in death. The life, the death, and the echo of the Thunder King. Long ago, when the world still smelled of iron and salt and the gods spoke through thunder, a child named Ragnar was born in a small settlement by the fjord of Kattegat. Winter had been cruel. The mountains of Norway wore endless white. As he opened his eyes, thunder split the sky. The elder women whispered, "Born under Thor's roar, his life will be a storm." His mother Aslog wrapped him in furs. His father Sigurd, a weary warrior, named him while staring at the horizon. They did not know the Skalds would sing that name for centuries. As a boy, Ragnar feared neither sea nor storm. One night, a raven settled on his chest and left a black feather. He kept it forever. From that day, the raven was his sign, and perhaps his fate. Ragnar grew between cold and curiosity. He trained in spear, axe, and shield, but he also watched the birds, reading the sky like a message. At 16 winters, his father took him to sea. The waves rose like living mountains. Lightning clawed the water. Ragnar lifted his face to the storm and shouted, "Make me your son, Thor. If I die, let it be fighting your lightning." The thunder answered like laughter. Back home, the seeress warned, "The raven will guide you to glory, and to a great fall." Ragnar adopted it as a vow. "If I fall, I'll fall from so high the world will hear the impact." Ragnar did not chase glory. He engineered it. He strengthened keels, lightened ribs, curved the prow so the carved dragon would cut not just water, but wind. When the first Drakar was ready, he named it Wrath and Raven. He gathered smiths, farmers who read the sky, hunters who kept time by tracks. They made land at Lindisfarne. Inside the monastery, fear met curiosity. A young monk dropped a book. Ragnar picked it up. "This sails too," he said. "But on seas I don't yet know." He forbade burning manuscripts and took only what could feed a village through a hard winter. The booty was modest, the lesson immense. Rivers are roads, and at the end of each road is a city that breathes differently. Ragnar refused repetition. One day he traded salt with farmers, another he slipped like a knife into a sleeping port, another he sold protection from bandits worse than his men. His name came to mean not only fear, but reliability. Among captives he found a clear-eyed man, once a scribe, hands calloused by oars. Ragnar set him by the fire and drew routes from him, tolls, feast days, floods, plagues, which bishop dozes, which market overweights the scales. The man did not become a servant. He became intelligence. Ragnar learned the most dangerous art, knowing when not to strike. The Franks dangled a wide river and a walled throat of stone, Paris. Ragnar studied currents, guard routines, merchant grudges. "We'll wait for rain," he said. It rained 3 days. The river rose, and the defenses sagged. His fleet slid in, no noisy heroics, only precision. Cut moorings, jam gates, light fires where wind helps, not hinders. He left with ransom and supplies, but more importantly with measure. Cities, rivers, men, and himself. He could enter and leave places the world believed were ends. And he knew the gods keep accounts. Back in Kattegat, Ragnar spent wealth like an engineer. Docks repaired, granaries raised, fire breaks dug, a levy of salt, iron, and leather for those who had none. No clan is strong with hunger inside, he said. Justice was swift but not cruel, losses were shared. The result wasn't spectacle, it was survival. Quiet omens gathered, the banners raven frayed without wind, a dead snake with a mouthful of sand, a seer's sparks shaping a laughing serpent. Ragnar treated fate like rain, respected, not obeyed. He pushed upriver into valleys that believed the world ended at their mill. There's no gold, a young warrior complained. There's time, Ragnar corrected. He traded salt for winters, wood without worms for 3 seasons, quick justice for stolen bread. Where pride answered with arrows, he closed access to salt and let hunger open the gates. He took 3 moons, not 3 hours, winning a river, not a 2-day plunder. A woman from another fjord brought the prophecy out loud. You will laugh in a house of serpents. Ragnar did not deny it. All men die, he said. Few die as themselves. He sailed west with calm purpose toward Northumbria. Under a white flag, he asked to see King El. In the hall, Ragnar stood, as if he had known that floor since birth. Have you come to beg? The king sneered. I came to see if the gods were right, Ragnar answered. The verdict was decided before the trial. The snake pit. At the edge, Ragnar said, a brave man laughs when death arrives. He knows his fate isn't silence, but the song others will sing when thunder rolls again. He leapt. Some say he smiled. Some say thunder sounded without a cloud. A raven spread its wings toward the north. News reached Kattegat like cold iron. Lothbrok looked away from the fire. His sons gathered. Bjorn Ironside, steady. Ivar the boneless, terrifying. Ub, the binder of routes. The great heathen army rose, not with mindless hate, but to restore balance. Fog, currents, and discipline fought for them. El was captured and paid with the symbol he had chosen to inspire terror. Bjorn ordered prayers, not boasts. Our Father is in the wind. The army stayed. Villages were founded. Children grew, speaking 2 tongues. Trade routes widened. Beliefs intertwined. Ragnar had died, but his dream, a world without sea borders, began to exist. Centuries turned. Skalds mixed his deeds with the gods, not for accuracy, but for memory. The raven became a symbol carved on shields and house posts, eyes forever to the west, where the sun dies to be reborn. Sailors wore small black wings, so thunder would not forget them. On old stones by the sea, people still carve 3 simple things: a raven, a snake, a ship under full sail. They say that every few generations a navigator rises in the north with Ragnar's gaze. Sometimes he carries an axe, sometimes a compass, sometimes only questions. The act is the same. Look at an impossible horizon and go. So the story ends, but not the voyage. As long as someone lifts their eyes to the wind, the raven will keep flying, and Ragnar's laugh will ride the thunder. Subscribe, share, and keep the North alive. News of Ragnar's death swept through the north like a silent storm. The sea smelled different. Ravens flew lower. In Kattegat, no one cried. Silence was heavier than grief. Lothbrok returned from the fire. Across the world, his sons felt the thunder. Bjorn in the Baltic, Ivar in the east, Ub in the southern ports. None needed proof. The gods had already spoken. Weeks later they gathered. On a wooden table lay 2 black feathers. No one had placed them there. Bjorn touched one and said, Our father didn't teach us to mourn. He taught us to walk forward. Ivar clenched his fists. Our path is vengeance. Ub whispered, Our path is memory. And so destiny split them into fire, reason, and shadow. The north rose, not out of hatred, but to restore balance. The largest fleet the world had ever seen cut across the sea, over 100 sails, each bearing the Black Raven. When the Saxons saw them, fear turned into religion. Bells rang endlessly, villages emptied, and kings stared at each other in dread. The sons of Ragnar are coming. The invasion was swift and calculated. Bjorn took the northern flank. Ivar commanded the center with ruthless brilliance. Ub secured the supply routes. Every strike of their swords carried years of their father's teaching. Ivar fought from his chariot, unmoved, screaming for Ragnar, his voice blending with thunder. Bjorn, calm and steady, rebuilt what others destroyed. Between them, the balance of storm and silence lived again. King El, who had cast Ragnar into the pit, was captured after weeks of pursuit. They brought him before the brothers in chains. Ivar did not wait for judgment. "My father died laughing," he said. "Now the world will laugh when it sees how I return his fate to you." What followed was neither quick nor loud, but exact. Justice, in the old northern way. When it was done, Bjorn ordered prayers, not celebration. "My father is not in hell, nor in heaven," he said. "He rides the wind." That night ravens circled the camp, and some swore they heard laughter in the thunder. Others said the river changed its course for a moment, as if the world itself bowed to the echo of Ragnar's name. The great armies stayed in England for years. They built settlements, married, raised children who spoke two tongues. Trade routes grew, cultures intertwined, faiths blurred. Ragnar was gone, but his dream, a world without borders between seas, had begun to live. When Bjorn Ironside grew old, he built a temple by the shore. Inside, he placed three things: a black feather, a river stone, and an empty wooden cup. "This is what we are," he said. Memory, strength, and hunger for what lies ahead. Ivar vanished into the rivers of the east. Some say he founded kingdoms, others that he disappeared into snow and legend. Up sailed west toward unknown lands, where the forests smelled of honey. Ragnar had opened the routes. His sons turned them into roads. Centuries passed. Skalds of the north still sang of Ragnar, not as a man, but as an idea. The raven became eternal, carved into shields, painted on sails, etched into wood and stone. When a child was born during a thunderstorm, people said Thor had marked him. When a raven perched on a roof, it was a messenger. When a ship returned from nowhere, sailors swore Ragnar had guided its rudder. Even Christian monks who once cursed him began to write his name with awe. To them, he became Samson for his strength, Job for his patience, and Noah for his mastery of water. Every culture remade him. In Iceland, he was a prophet. In France, a terror. In Arabia, a storm god among men. But in the north, he was something simpler and greater: the horizon itself. As centuries turned to millennia, the spirit of Ragnar outlived kingdoms. The Vikings became kings, the Jarls nobles, the traders city builders. Wooden villages became stone fortresses, but the impulse he had borne, that hunger for the unknown sea, never faded. When Norse sailors crossed to Greenland and Icelandic explorers reached America long before Columbus, they said a raven guided them. On their ships, among maps and compasses, they carried a small black pendant, "So thunder won't forget me." Even when new faiths tried to erase old gods, the raven endured, hidden in carvings, in surnames, in whispers. On the oldest stones of Scandinavia, one inscription still survives: "Born from the wind of Ragnar." By the age of poets and explorers, Ragnar's name had become metaphor. For romantics of the 19th century, he was the spirit of freedom. For archaeologists, proof that myth can become history. For sailors, a silent prayer before voyage. And for dreamers, the reminder that some journeys matter more than any harbor. In his supposed tomb of stone, travelers leave no flowers, only black feathers. Those who listen closely say they hear the murmur of the sea, though the coast lies miles away. Sometimes the wind slips through the cracks and sounds like laughter. Not mockery, but the laughter of one who understands that life is a voyage, that endings exist, and that, as long as someone tells his story, the thunder will still roll over the mountains of the north. And so, Ragnar Lothbrok sails on, not in flesh, but in memory, not in ships, but in words, because men who teach others to look toward the horizon never truly die. They only change form, each time a raven lifts its wings over the sea. The North Sea never forgets. Sometimes it roars, sometimes it whispers, but it always keeps the names of those who dared to challenge it. And among them, One still echoes with the force of thunder. Ragnar Lothbrok. His echo lives in the waves, in songs, and in the eyes of those who still dare to dream beyond the horizon. The story ends, but the voyage does not. As long as the wind carries the cry of the raven, Ragnar's laughter will ride the storm. Until the next saga, traveler. Subscribe, share, and keep the flame of the North alive.